Double kill, triple kill, overkill.
I think that was a 4 kill.
The Sweetheart Storm. Aside from some HPA ones, this is probably the most overpowered Nerf blaster ever made. It's a 300 feet per second Springer with an auto-priming motor that allows semi-auto fire or full auto 7 rounds per second domination. But not everyone around the world plays Nerf at 300 feet per second. Some people play Humans vs Zombies, for example, with a 130 feet per second velocity limit. So that made me curious. How low could the Storm be tuned down to? And how well would it perform, considering that it's designed for higher power levels? In today's video, I'm going to answer that question plus another one: how well does Nerf rifling work at such a low velocity too? I shared my idea for this video with Jay at Foamwork Adelaide, who sells the Storm here in Australia. And here's the process that we went through. Starting with the shortened CQB configuration of the Storm 2.0 Plus, basically taking the long sniper config and shortening the barrel to 20 centimeters. This setup out of the box gets 220 to 230 feet per second. From here, Jay then installed a weaker Nexus Pro 1.6 spring, which is often used to downgrade the Nexus Pro blaster. With the Nexus Pro 1.6 spring and the 20 centimeter barrel, it shot an average of around 150 to 160 feet per second, but I wanted it even lower than that. Some people might want to use this for HVZ after all. Because the Storm uses standard worker barrels, I suggested cutting one of these down to a shorter size, giving the darts less barrel to accelerate through. And what we came to was a 13 centimeter barrel. And that's where this blaster's at now. Also, I hadn't actually played with a CQB setup before, but I must say with the CQB front end, which gives a nice hand stop at the bottom, overall the blaster is the perfect size for the close quarters environment that I'm using it at here. Additionally, Jay provided me with a new version of his bearing rifling. Instead of it having 15 bearings, this one uses only 9, so it should create less friction and be better suited for lower feet per second setups. With that all explained, that brings me to the first test, the chrono test. Using worker bamboo darts, 15 shots without the bearing rifling, and then 15 shots with it attached. Remembering that the velocity I get here, you'll be able to get anywhere between this and 300 feet per second with the right tuning.
98. 102. 112. 102. 109. 95. 91. 105. 110. 115. 90, 92, 106, 96. Oh, that's all the shots.
With no rifling, I got a high of 115, low of 90, average of 101, and a standard deviation of 8.1.
All right, scar barrel's attached. Let's see how much it drops by. 104. 95, 99, 90, 89, 102, 103, 107, 98, 96, 103, 99, 104, 92, and that's all of the shots.
With Foamwork Adelaide's 9 bearing rifling attached, I got a high of 107, low of 89, average of 98, and a standard deviation of 5.6. As low as these results are, they are absolutely incredible. Do you know what this means? The Sweetheart Storm can be whatever blaster you want it to be, anywhere from 100 feet per second all the way up to 300. And of course, everything in between. Also, it looks like the bearing rifling only reduced velocity by 3 feet per second or a 3% loss. But back to these results. I'm very impressed that the Storm can shoot just as consistently at 100 feet per second as it can at 300. And if I wanted 130 feet per second for HVZ, for example, I would have just kept the barrel slightly longer, perhaps around 16 centimeters. Next though, before I do an accuracy test, I need to see how far this thing can actually shoot at such a low power level. I don't think I've ever actually tested a blaster this low before, so I need to know how far back I can actually stand to do my accuracy test. So here's 5 shots of Worker Bamboos.
Alright, let's go see where those landed. I fired 5, they should be all grouped up nice and close to each other. Here's one. So that one landed 26 meters away. Then we have one there, one there, one there, and one there. So I'm guessing we're going to be doing a 20-meter accuracy test today. Yeah, the furthest one has gone 28 meters. So I'm not going to be able to do my standard 30 meters, but we'll see how it does at 20.
Now that I know how far I can shoot, it's time for a 20 meter or 65 foot if you're American accuracy test. 15 shots with and then 15 shots without the Foamwork Adelaide 9 bearing rifling attached.
Okay guys, just for reference, at this range, 20 meters at such a low velocity, where I'm going to be aiming is that fork in the tree above the target. Because I have the SCAR barrel still on, I'll just leave it on for now. Then we'll take it off and do the second magazine. Just short. Hit. 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 Just higher. Hit. Just short. Hit. Hit. That's all of them. We'll take the SCAR barrel off and see if it changes. Alright, SCAR barrel removed. Let's see how it shoots for accuracy now. Aiming at the same spot. Hit. Hit. Just high. Hit. Just over the top to the right. Hit. Short. Short. Hit. 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 I think I was on the cinder block. Hit. Hit. That's all of them.
From a distance of 20 meters or 65 feet if you use Freedom units, the Storm, tuned down to 100 feet per second with and without rifling, shot a spread 1.5 meters in height. The only difference was a slight change in width. With rifling, it had a 45 centimeter horizontal spread, and with no rifling, it was slightly bigger at 50. Basically no perceivable difference though. So to answer the question of whether rifling works at such a low velocity, taking both the chrono test and accuracy test into account, I have to conclude that the rifling doesn't really make any difference at all, positive or negative. At least not at the 100 feet per second velocity level. Use it, don't use it. It's not going to hurt velocity and it's not going to hurt accuracy, but it's also not going to improve it. As for the Sweetheart Storm itself, I was amazed with its ability to be tuned down so low. A lot of blasters designed for higher velocity levels perform very inconsistently when you try something like this. And for example, the Milsig M79 HPA blaster that I think best compares to the Sweetheart Storm in how overpowered it is, that thing won't even cycle properly below 250 feet per second. It's useful to know that with the right combination of spring load and barrel length, the Storm, being just an automatic springer, can be tuned to whatever you want it to be. 300 feet per second with the long setup, 230 feet per second with the short setup, 200 feet per second with a Nexus Pro 1.8 spring, 150 feet per second with a Nexus Pro 1.6 spring, 130 with probably around a 16 centimeter barrel, or you can even get it as low as this, 100 feet per second with a tiny 13 centimeter length barrel. One thing I will mention though is that I do wish the spring was easier to swap, and hopefully future Nerf AEG designs address that. I also want to say I had a lot of fun using the CQB setup in gameplay. The shorter length was very nice for the close quarters environment of the skirmish field, and even though I was using a 100 feet per second blaster against 300 feet per second ones, I didn't really feel outgunned because this could still shoot 25 meters, and most of my engagements were closer than that. I hope this video has been as interesting to you viewers as it was to me filming it, and hopefully this video was a useful answer to some of the comments I get from time to time from players who use lower velocity limits. After all, the Sweetheart Storm is fundamentally just a Springer, so the results that you've seen in this video could pretty much be applied to any other Springer.
Ow, my nipple.
But let me know down below, what velocity limit do you usually play at? Would you use an auto-electric Springer like the Storm? I definitely think the next few years will be interesting indeed, as AEGs become more mainstream, more reliable, and maybe some major brands will start making them, driving the costs down. That's all I have for you today. Here's 2 other videos you might enjoy, and as always, thank you very much for watching. See ya.